here any questions that you might have for our quiz? I'm just going to go through the answers. Is that cool?
Yes.
Wait, I'm not ready.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna make a note sheet.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so here we have our first one. What do we need to know in order to answer this type of a question, equivalent exposure question? What do we need to know? The range of shutter speeds, right? And apertures. 1/2, 1/4, and we can abbreviate and write just the denominator. So 8, what's my next one? This is a near double. What's next?
I just know the one that looks right. I don't know.
15 times 2? 30. 30 times 2? 60. Okay, this is the last near double. Yeah, 1/125. And what's important about this shutter speed? Shh, guys, don't talk while I'm talking. What is it? Yeah, it's a standard shutter speed. Okay, that's on a question. 250, 500, 1,000. Okay, what about, so this is shutter speed. What about our f-stop or aperture? Does anybody know what those are? Starts with 1.4 or 1.7, depends on your lens. 2.8.
And those are called shutter speeds.
No, these are f-stops. F-stop is just another word for what? Aperture.
So the double means never f-stop is 2.8.
Yeah, just remember 2.8. It'll be in the list of f-stops. So look for f2.8. Which shutter speed are you going to look for? Remember, you only have to memorize one. 1/125. Yeah, the wrong answer won't have that shutter speed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So look for the list that has 1/125 or the list that has f2.8. Okay?
Wait, so
And then,
1.7.
oh, I missed one. You guys didn't catch me. What goes in between 5.6 and 2.8?
3,
4. Good. Okay, 8, 11,
yeah.
16, and what's the last one? Is another one you can look for? 22. Very good. Okay, so now I can solve this problem. Excuse me. So it says your light meter is green for good. It's at 1/120 or 1/250, and f5.6. Okay. So 1/250, f5.6. And I tell you to change your shutter speed to 1/30. So which direction do I do my bunny hops? To the left. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, which direction do I do my bunny
Right.
hops down here? To the right. Equal and opposite directions.
Oh, so it's C.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, so F16 is the correct answer on that one. Very good. How do we answer this question? Number 2.
If you go down in shutter speed, you go up in f-stop.
Oh, for the first one?
But
Yeah.
if you were to go up in f-stop, would you go down in shutter speed?
Yes, they're both opposites. So if you go this direction in one, you have to go that direction in the other. Okay? What do we see in this picture? Okay, how is it captured? It's blurry. Very good. It has motion blur. Which of these shutter speeds, which one can we cross off right away? And the f22. That's not even a shutter speed.
Oh, you white.
Yeah, 1/125. Which other one can we cross off? We're looking for a slow shutter speed. Yeah, so the correct answer would be B, 1/2 of a second. It's really smooth, it's ribbon-like, soft focus, it looks like there's lots of motion. Okay. When would you use an equivalent exposure? That's one of these, where it's 1/125 at f5.6 equals 1/30 at f16. When would you use that? All of them, right?
Wait.
So this one has to do with motion.
So on number 2, can you go back to that one? That was the one.
Number 2?
Yeah.
See how the water is kind of ribbon-like? Like you don't really see all the individual water droplets? That's because it's a slow shutter speed. So the water is allowed to pass over
So
the...
slow shutter speed captures like less of the image.
It's just fuzzy. Like kind of if I waved my hand and you take a slow shutter speed picture, my hand would just be a blur. Does that make sense? Whereas if you take a fast one, my hand would be stuck. Okay, so film exposure is whenever you want to change the depth of field or change the way motion is captured. All of these have to do with that. The blur, here's close-up of a flower, you want shallow depth of field. Here's stop action, that's fast shutter speed, and here's universal depth of field. So all of them have to do with changing one or the other. Does that make sense? So all of them, you might change your settings and get an equivalent exposure. So on the retake, it'll be different examples, but the correct answer will still be all of the above. Does that make sense? I'll just change the examples. If that question's even on. Okay, number 4, you have a proper light meter reading at 1/125 and f5.6. I told you to change your aperture to f2.8. What type of a problem is this?
It would be C.
Is it? Let's guess and check. So we're guessing it's C, 1/250. How can we figure it out?
Because you're going down a step. Or you're
Okay.
in 2 steps.
So we're going down from 5.6, 1, 2, to 2.8. And then we started at 1/125. So that means we have to go equal and opposite, 1, 2 this way. So it's D, 1/500. You guys all get it? Okay, any questions about that? Okay, what is the purpose of the light meter? That is this little range of numbers from -3, -2, -1, 1, 2, 3. And you want your indicator to be right in the middle. What did you say, Chase? B, very good. To tell you if you have enough light. It'll tell you if it's overexposed or underexposed. Okay? Here's a film speed question. So film speed could be anywhere from like ISO 25 to, ISO 100, ISO 400, 800, 1200, 1600, 3200, 6400. The larger the number, the more sensitive your film is to light. So if you're sitting somewhere at night, are you going to need really sensitive film or not very sensitive? It's dark. So to make a picture, you want your film speed to be sensitive, right? It's dark. There's not that much light. So to take a picture, you need really sensitive film so that you can take a picture like that. So the larger the number, the better. But this asks which one could not be used at night. So yeah, 100. Because all of these are fast.
So what, like on the numbers, like what are the numbers of the ISO?
They refer to like, the measurement of the film grains, which might be nanometers. I'm not sure what the increment is or what the unit is, but just know the bigger
Do
the
you count in
number.
hundreds? Is that what it counts to?
No, not exactly. It counts goes from 100 to 200 to 400 to 800, so it's not an even increment in between, yeah. But they refer to the size of the film grain, and in digital sense, it means the size of the digital noise. So 1600 would be a bigger grain, you would see it, versus ISO 100 would be very small and fine, you couldn't see it with the naked eye. Does that kind of make sense with film speed?
So if I was to use a super high one in the day, would it be way too bright?
It would be way too bright, and it would also have really coarse grains for no reason.
Okay.
So the rule of thumb is you want to use the lowest ISO you can get away with. So if you're outside on a bright sunny day, use ISO 100. It'll be a really smooth, high quality picture. Does that make sense? Whereas if you're at night, you kind of have to use a fast one. Okay, if you're using a normal lens, that's the kind of lens we have on our cameras. Do not go below this shutter speed to hand hold the camera. So anything under this shutter speed, you'll have to use a tripod. Which one is it? 60. Very good. So all of these would require a little tripod to hold it steady.
Which
Okay?
one? Above.
All of the, anything under 1/60.
Which one? What's bulb?
Bulb, I didn't even write it up here. Bulb is the custom shutter speed, so bulb is however long your finger's on the button, that's how long the picture takes. And then when you let go of the button, it closes the shutter. So that's like, it could be 10 seconds, it could be 30 seconds, whatever, it's custom. Okay, next one. Yeah, let me know if you think of any questions while I'm scrolling through. What shutter speed most likely captured this picture? So it's number 8. It has the ball is clear. You can see all the little water droplets. Is it fast or slow? Fast. Which of these is fast? Yes, D. 1/250. What's wrong with F16? No. What is F16?
Oh,
It's an aperture. It's not a shutter speed. So pay attention to what the question is asking for. It's asking for an aperture or a shutter speed. This is the shutter priority mode quiz. So
It's D, right?
So most of the questions are about shutter speed. Yeah, it's D. Okay. Here's another equivalent exposure problem. So 1/60. And then you want to go, here, I'm going to erase all my lines.
Shallow down the field.
Yeah, you're trying to get a shallow depth of field. So what you could do is process of elimination, eliminate some answers. So which ones would not give you a shallow depth of field?
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, so we're going to cross out those. We know it's not that. So we're trying to decide between these two.